Well, deep inside, I did have a lot of guilt, but I still continued.
You believe, though, that he had real feelings for you?
Of course he did. I know he did.
He would say that?
He did.
Were you in love with him?
I was, yeah.
And do you think he was in love with you?
He was, yeah.
I don't have words. I mean, what would that be like on the stand?
So what is so great for the state in putting that testimony on is she is an exhibit more than a witness. The state is going to say what you heard from her, all of the evidence, whether it's coming directly from her, when it's coming from David Pecker, this is what they did not want the electorate to hear.
Court tour. Maybe realise that this nonsense he does as he walks into court and as he comes out to court, which I was thinking, oh, it's just for the Fox people, there's something that should be noted. Those on the jury are going to have to sit through this whingy, whiny stuff as he gives evidence, if he takes the stand and that. And I'm thinking, how is this guy, a former president, never had any level of media training or never known when to hush? The game he's playing, seriously, I can tell you now, just as an outsider looking in, he's getting some very, very bad advice.
All of that's going to come crashing into this moment. And Pecker, for example, is setting up this conversation in a way in which you're going to see and get exposed to what a lot of us know is the real Donald Trump, how he operates, how, all of the things that he said and how he's manipulated situations and people. And so there are going to be a whole lot of people out there who are going to realize just how much of a sucker they've been.
Opportunity to really start diving into concepts that were going to happen in this case. And it's just built on that. Then we had opening statements on Monday, and then with the testimony going into the testimony of David Pecker. And I think my fellow reporters, it's every line is something that we've heard, have past reported on, and just it's fascinating, and it's going to continue certainly over these next 6 weeks. I mean, I certainly think the reporting, the core reporters are like riveted by what Pecker is saying. I think the jury, this is a marathon for them. I think they certainly came in, jury selection happened quite quickly, and I think they are just in the process of absorbing. I think the last few days they were certainly interested and captivated, but probably overwhelmed in their own
On Tuesday, April 4th,
Is there a sense that the prosecution had this strategy of bringing on someone who still likes Trump and who Trump still likes? It feels like the moments where it's going to be very combative potentially may or may not be with Mr. Pecker.
I think that's a right-on read of this. I think Pecker certainly comes up. He introduces this whole scheme, and that is giving us an introduction to what the jurors are about to hear.
Excuse me, I'm all sweaty. I'm just coming from a walk. I should have a shower. I've come into, we'll start with Mitt Romney. Straight to the point.
I think everybody has made their own assessment of President Trump's character, and so far as I know, you don't pay someone $130,000 not to have sex with you.
Day 6 of Trump goes, I'm so innocent, I'm so innocent.
I'm not allowed to talk, but people are allowed to talk about me. So they can talk about me, they can say whatever they want, they can lie, but I'm not allowed to say anything. I just have to sit back and look at why a conflicted judge.
That moment in your life when you've got nothing better to do than, be a troll on social media, try and see if you can get your client to lose another couple of million in your legal cases you're not particularly good at, and appearing on news hoax. As well, waiting for a phone call for some reality show somewhere. Alina Yabba Dabba Doo, that's you.
And it's sad, Carl, that he can't speak about it. The gag orders, the unconstitutionality. I mean, what is more Colombia, Russia? What is more third world? This is why we have people pouring into our country, running for freedom, because inappropriately, but still doing it because of things like this. And now we're going to be like that, you know?
So what vegetables are we using? Celery?
And
The day began with a long-awaited contempt hearing for Donald Trump's alleged violations of the gag order. Now, Judge Juan Merchan did not rule from the bench, and interestingly, DA Alvin Bragg's office did not ask for jail for Trump's contempt. However, the biggest takeaway, Todd Blanche, Trump's attorney, got bench-slapped by Juan Merchan. Merchan telling him, "You are losing all credibility with the court." I would not want to be Todd Blanche today. But then we got David Pecker back on the stand for his continued direct examination testimony on behalf of the prosecution. David Pecker making it clear there was an agreement between Pecker, Michael Cohen, and Donald Trump to make sure that the National Enquirer caught and killed any negative stories about Donald Trump. Why? Pecker testified under oath so that it would not embarrass the Trump campaign. We heard all about Dino the doorman, that they paid him $30,000 to make sure that he didn't come forward with a story about some alleged illegitimate love child between Donald Trump and his housekeeper. We then also heard the beginning of the story of Karen McDougal, who claimed that she had a years-long affair with Donald Trump.
How many movies have you watched where the coward, because they're hiding with the bully, is all mouth giving it some, and then when the bully disappears, the coward has nothing to say for themselves? Kind of think Jesse Waters fits firmly into that bracket. And of course, he doesn't think anything about a man cheating on his pregnant wife with a mistress and then cheating on the mistress with a porn star.
Ex-National Enquirer publisher David Pecker was back on the stand. The prosecution hoping to convince the jury that Trump tried to hide damaging stories ahead of the 2016 election. Pecker testified that he's been catching and killing stories for a long time, which is perfectly legal last time we checked. And Pecker began doing it for Trump starting in 2015. He also testified under oath that Trump was popular with the ladies. Quote, Mr. Trump was well known as the most eligible bachelor and dated the most beautiful women.
This is the kind of health care that doesn't do politics. Republican and Democrats in Florida, women who need health care are going to find themselves in a bind, to say the least, whether they are pregnant or not, whether they need a DNC or a termination or not. Maybe they have fibroids. Maybe they're going through some menopausal symptoms. There will be procedures they can't get, thanks to Donald Trump.
I'm not a legal expert, but I would just like to underline cases don't just happen. It's not like you buy a lottery ticket or you buy some milk or some French fries or something from a fast food restaurant. These cases take a while to put together. And Joy Reid, literally, this clip should be played to anybody who listens to the garbage coming out of former guy's mouth.
How is that a crime? Because that's what the prosecutor has to prove. Because catch and kill is unseemly, it's gross, but it's not illegal.
And that's why the New York statute that was previewed previously in the motions that were dealt with prior to this case actually surviving the motions to dismiss. Because, you know, this is important. Trials don't just materialize overnight. There was litigation. There was motion practice that happened that this indictment survived. Because a lot of people want to say there's nothing here. There's no there. Donald Trump whipping out all like a toddler. Look at all of my friends saying there's no crime here. Well, Jonathan Turley is not the gold standard for that.
No.
So
somebody at Fox is struggling. A while back, they were comparing Trump to OJ. The other day, it was Guatemala Bay. I think I pronounced that wrong, but anyway, you know what I'm on about. And now, it's the fall... Seriously, this is just ridiculous. It's the fall of the Roman Empire, you know.
That's a great question, and that raises, to me, sort of the very problem with what we have here, where we're now weaponizing the justice system to go after former presidents, right? I mean, you back up 2,000 years, and this is the kind of thing that they would do in the Roman Republic that led to the end of the Roman Republic. Right? I mean, Caesar's out there in Gaul and says, if you don't, come back to Rome, end your proconsular authority, and face prosecution. Right? So what did he do? He crossed the Rubicon, and there's the end of the Republic. So, I mean, what we're seeing here has shades in the past of history, and was what our Constitution tries to avoid. Unfortunately, we've now opened up a whole new era of politically tinged prosecutions of former presidents.
How do we
shift to the trial, if we could, for 1 second? Where is your concern level at this point regarding David Pecker's testimony and Michael Cohen's testimony?
Well, Michael Cohen is a convicted liar, and he's got no credibility whatsoever. He was a lawyer, and you rely on your lawyers, but Michael Cohen was a convicted liar. He was a lawyer for many people, not just me.
Are you prepared to take the stand if it comes down to it?
Oh, sure, I'd very willingly take the stand. Right now, if you look at what the legal scholars are saying, and as I said, Jonathan Turley, McCarthy, Dershowitz last night, they say there's no case. There is no case. They brought a case that doesn't exist, and they're right. other than we have a very conflicted judge. The judge is highly conflicted.
This whole thing is and was such an unforced error by the former president. Totally unnecessary. If you look at the documents that were unsealed, this all began with a pretty simple, straightforward request from the archives. They asked for three things. They asked for the infamous Kim Jong-un letter. They asked for a letter left by former President Obama on his way out for incoming President Trump in the White House. And they asked for the map related to Hurricane Dorian that, if you remember, Trump marked up with his Sharpie. And those are the three things. And for whatever reason, Trump and his team gave them a runaround for months. And as a result of that, they got frustrated. Then they started wondering, well, are there other things? Turned out there were other things. And that led to a subpoena. The subpoena led to a raid. And here we are.
So there's this anonymous Trump associate speaking to the former president, 11/21. This is an FBI interview. Whatever you have, give everything back. Let them come here and get everything. Don't give them a noble reason to indict you, because they will. So there was a knowledge inside.
If you listen to Trump or Fox or any of those type of people, they're always being very negative, talking about the worst of America, never celebrating the best of America. The fact that there's a sense of humour in adversity, always. There's a positive spirit out there. And this is probably the best example I've seen for a while. A car crashes into a Dunkin' Donuts. The kid you're about to see had a miraculous escape from death. I do not undersell this. I really, really don't. Listen to these 5 seconds. For me, this is the best of America.
I was just like America doesn't just run on Dunkin', cars do too.